Ready to go? Cool. So Jan, you've led a very interesting life.
Oh yeah.
Fascinating. You've written tons of books. You speak a lot about extraterrestrial life, and the book that I explored recently was Cosmic Reintegration. I'm not sure, was that the title of the book I just looked at?
Cosmic Reintegration.
Yeah, yeah. So I'd like to start at the beginning. Humanity we've heard many different theories about humanity being seeded by extraterrestrial life, like us being seeded, like an experiment in a sense. Do you have a creation story that you have been given about how humanity all began?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to share that with us?
Yeah. First of all, most of us, to be honest, I have to tell you, most of us live in blissful ignorance of the reality around us. And here I'm talking about three kinds of reality or three kinds of entities. The first one, I'm talking about spiritual levels, many spiritual levels. Second, extraterrestrial beings who lived in this universe. And third, anti-material, extra-physical beings who lived in parallel universe. Three contexts, three kinds of realities, and we don't know many things about them, but the first notice about humans, Genesis, we can find this first notice in a compendium that today we call it mythology. And in the mythology, it's easy to understand why the gods create human beings. Because they made something wrong. So in accordance to the news that we can find in mythology, human race came out to life on earth because of a wrong. And Adam and Eve did not eat an apple. They drank some kind of beverage that changed their mind. And if our mind is blind to the possibility, our eyes will be blind to the opportunities. And Adam and Eve saw at that time opportunities about how to live that the Creator's God couldn't see. So, if I am not wrong, a human being, we can see opportunities in our lives, in how to grow, how to evolve, how to grow up, and the gods, they do not see the opportunities they have because they can't do what we can. And here I'm talking about evolution. So I'm trying to tell you that our DNA came from the parallel universe, because this is what Hindu mythology and Aryan mythology say about. The called in Sanskrit name Nidana is a kind, or is the name of the cult that came from this parallel universe to our universe, and today this cult lives in our bodies. More than 20 or 30,000 years ago, our ancestors knew about that. But today we don't know anything. We really don't know anything. It's difficult for us to try to understand the beginning of life, the meaning of life, but we have to try always. But as Immanuel Kant, a German philosopher, says, the intelligence of a human being is evaluated by the amount of uncertainties he is able to bear, he is able to collect. But we think we have many certainties about many things, but our certainties may not be right. Our certainties may be wrong, all of them. And the first one is about how the human being came to life on earth. So the answer is, it was because of God's wrong.
Mistake.
God mistakes. Mistake. Thank you very much. So this is what I try to write in the 52 books I have published until now.
Okay. We were speaking briefly before we started downstairs, and you mentioned that you have had contact with a number of, I think it's, how many different extraterrestrials? 2 different ones?
From this universe, yeah, 2 different races.
Okay. Your English is doing good, by the way. Is it doing good?
Yeah.
I can understand where we're going. We speak a universal language, so we'll get there.
Yeah.
So, can you talk about the 2 different races you met and their characteristics?
Yeah. I do not like what I am doing. I did prefer living my life in other obligations, doing other things, because these books I wrote until today, I don't know if I'm sure, and I try to make clear about it. Even though until my 27 years old, I never had any kind of contact, any kind of vision, anything. So it began to happen at this age, and the first contact I had was with spirits, and they told me in 1968 until 2000, probably you will have some kind of contact with extraterrestrial beings, because you will have to write, you will have to explain to humanity many things we still don't know, but we will have to know. I listened to these news from 1928 to 1923, 24. I began to write, but I didn't know it, and I still don't know until today if I am wrong or if I'm right in what I'm trying to explain. But anyway, in 1999, I had my first contact, not mental or mind contact with extraterrestrial beings of this universe, and they are like us, but they are completely different from us if we talk about in nature. They do not smile. They do not have sexual condition. They are strange, but they are beautiful. And the most important for me was, what did they want from me? Because I'm not a faithful man. I'm not a religious man. I was a manager of a bank. I was a director of, and they said, only you can do it because you're a spirit in past lives. He was prepared for that, and now you have to do it. Do it what? What do you want me to do? And they said, you have to begin a new religion. And I said to them, you're completely wrong. If you know me, how can you order me to do that? Because I won't do it. I don't like to do it. I like to study religion. I already studied everything. I respect all the religions, but I'm not going to do that. But this is what they told me. From 1999 until 2006. And this race is not a kind of biological beings, although they look like that. And they said about themselves that they are angels. So they are like the God of the Bible, that we can call in English Jehovah or Javeh or Yahweh, angels. That's what they said. I think I was crazy, but it was happening. And happened a second time, and a third time. And I have to be peacefully with myself with that, but I didn't do it. And they said, so you have to prepare yourself, because the first official contact that the human being will have someday, any day in future, with extraterrestrial beings of this universe will be in the day that the celestial form of Jesus appears for everybody on earth, as Jesus promised when he was on earth. And you will have to announce, because the reintegration of the planet to the cosmic life will happen not only with extraterrestrial beings who live in this universe, but there will be contact with extra-physical beings who live in the parallel universe. And I said to them, I will write everything you order me, but that's all I will do. I do not do anything different from that. I don't know if I'm sure. I don't know if you are sure. I know you exist because you are here talking to me, but I don't believe in these terms. But I write about it. That's what I did. So this is one kind of race. Another one is smaller, but completely different. They said that they came from Epsilon Eridani, is the name of a system, star system near our solar system, but they live in 9 different worlds, and these beings, they are strange because they have a big head and a small body, no sexual appearance, and they are benevolent, they are good. But the taller ones, they are cold. So these are the 2 races I have some kind of contact.
Yeah, and the name for each of those races? Will they give a name?
No,
No.
I don't have, I didn't have at that time. The big ones, the towers, they said, we are angels and we're here because Javeh ordered us to do that. The others, no. The others, it was because I had received somebody has a daughter with 2 years that and she had cancer. And somebody helped me, somebody ordered me and asked me for help. And I asked help to that girl. And this race came and tried to help, but they appeared to me and said that there is no way to help that girl. So I called the mother and told her, but they didn't give a name. We are gray, we are something. No.
Yeah.
I didn't get any name.
You mentioned, Jan, dimensions there, or sorry, you mentioned 9 different, in relation to the second being 9 different realities.
Worlds.
Worlds. Is that like a dimension?
No. In this universe.
Okay.
This kind of being, as if we human beings, we are going to live on Earth and plus 8 other worlds. Planets.
Okay. I wanted to ask you though about dimensions. You understand the word dimension. So we exist in the kind of 3D, 4D kind of plane at the moment. How many dimensions are there, do you know, dimensional realities, in relation to this universe?
Well, nobody knows. Let me tell you something. Unitology says that in the beginning there was a cosmic egg, and this egg, when it's broke, 3 parts came out. Chinese mythology, for example, the yin, the yang, and Panku, the name of the creator, fallen in Yang's side. If we go to study Hindu mythology, it says, at the beginning there was a cosmic egg. In Sanskrit, its name is Anda, Brahmananda. Brahma is the name of the creator, Anda is the name of the egg. So this cosmic egg broke, and 3 parts came out to life. The Brahma Loka, the Bull Loka, and the Brahma fall in the Brahma Loka. So this parallel universe, because we live in Bull Loka, and Brahma and the other gods as mythology says, live in this parallel universe. So if you ask me how many levels or how many the Sanskrit language, the Hindu says that we have more than 1 million lokas in this parallel universe. In the Greek mythology, these lokas are called genos or eons. The Zeus and Olympus, it's only one gene or only one eon or only one loka. So, answer your question, talking about this universe, this parallel universe, we have more than 1 million lokas, and we got a problem. This universe is falling down. It is collapsed. In 2007, for the first time, how can I say colmeia in English? Hive. For the first time, the scientists note that bees hive collapsed without any kind of advice. So they began to study why the bees hive collapsed. 5 years later, nobody knows the answer. In 2014, the scientists said, oh, it was not one specific cause, but many causes. And they said, how can I say in English, stress extremo.
Extreme stress.
They said that the answer or the justification for the collapse of the beings was extreme stress. So this parallel universe in 2018 began to collapse, and millions of lokas or genos or skies, because in the Gnostic Gospels, these lokas or eons or genos,
realms,
they are called realms. So the Olympus of Zeus, the Vaikunta of Vishnu, the Brahma Loka, all these realms of this parallel universe are collapsing. And the mythology said that 10,000, 20,000 years ago. Why? We don't know anything about it. Because the religions that came out, the religions that we know today, canceled all the news came from mythology. And we think that mythology is lies. Legends, stories, not history. And we will get in trouble because many of these beings are trying to come to our universe, and it already began. So this parallel universe it's going to collapse.
And use a lot of terminology that's from the Vedic.
Yeah.
The what we know as India, the spiritual traditions in India. Yeah. The Vishnu and Shiva and all these kind of characters. Or deities, whatever you want to call them. And there's a kind of similarity in all the religions in the world. Similar characters in the world. But I want to ask you about the one that we all know in the West, which is Jesus. And who he was. Some people say he was extraterrestrial. Some people say he was the Son of God. What's your view on who Jesus is?
I'll tell you. But first of all, I have to tell you that in Gospel of Thomas is called the fifth Gospel. Jesus said to Thomas, the resurrected Jesus said to Thomas, those who seek the truth should not stop seeking until they find. But when they find the truth, they will be disturbed. When they are disturbed, they will marvel and will reign over all. And after they have reigned, they will rest. Pay attention. Jesus do not say, when they find the truth, they will be happy. He said, they will be disturbed in the first moment. Why did Jesus say that? So, we don't know anything about Jesus. 2,000 years later, we still don't know. But Jesus, the resurrected Jesus, said many, many things that he didn't say when he was alive. But anyway, for me, Jesus is my master. He is perhaps the best or the better or the most beautiful soul that appears here on earth. But he's not the Son of God. He was sent by someone that he called Abba, and Abba in Aramaic, I don't know how can I say this in English, means something like dad. But here you have to think, as an adult, not as a child. On Thursday night, one day before his crucifixion, he asked to his dad, to his Abba, Dad, forget me if I'm wrong. I know I didn't do what you ordered me to do. I fell with you because this kind of being that we can call Yahweh, Jehovah, Yahweh, expect that Jesus use his power to obligate the human beings to accept again Yahweh's orders. It's difficult for us to understand, but Jesus didn't do what Yahweh sent his messenger, his Messiah, to do that. But the man didn't do what his spirit wanted him to do. And he said, how can I say in English? Livre-me deste cálice.
Free me from this burden.
Free me from this. Yeah. And this God said no. And Jesus was crucified. Even he had power to run away from that. But he didn't run away. He accepted and said, I didn't came to this world to make my own will. I came to do his will, so I will do it. I will be crucified. Why? Why this being, this entity called Jehovah or Yahweh, why he wanted Jesus to be crucified? And it's written in all the 4 Gospels. So it's strange. Jesus, for me, is the most important human being that appeared on earth, but he's not God. He is bigger than any kind of God we may think we know.
And the story that we've been told about Jesus, the crucifixion and all of that, like there's many stories more coming to light now about him traveling through India, studying as a yogi, and actually I watched something recently and it said that he trained with a lot of gurus and masters in India, and then he became more proficient than them. He picked up the knowledge, the wisdom, and actually some gurus are on, I'm thinking of Autobiography of a Yogi. The name of that guy, does anybody know the name of that guy? Yogananda. Yeah. I think he's quoted as saying that, Jesus became the ultimate master. But is that story true? Do you feel that he was in India and he studied? No.
Here we have a problem. Because when Yahweh,
when you say Yahweh, that's God?
God,
okay.
The Bible, the God's Bible, okay? The same of Allah, who did the Islam 6 centuries later, okay? But let me tell you something first. Judas Didymus Thomas was one of the apostles of Jesus, but he was his brother. Judas Didymus Thomas looks like his brother Jesus, and both looks like Mary, their mother. The name Judas was called Didymus in Greek and Tomé in Aramaic, because in Greek and in Aramaic, Didymus and Tomé means twins. So when Jesus was 16, 17 years old, as we used to know in spirituality, we know this news came from this spirituality. Jesus lost his father, and José of Arimathea was a friend of Joseph, Jesus' father, that died, and Joseph of Arimathea convinced Mary to let his son work with José of Arimathea in his caravans, because Joseph of Arimathea was a rich man. He had mines, he had many business with many people around the world. And so Jesus, when he was 16, 17, 18 years old, he came to north of Europe. He went. He went to India, he went to Persia, he went to Egypt until he had 54, 55 years.
No,
When
34.
20, 24, 25 years. When he was in Kashmir,
24, okay.
the people in Kashmir don't want Jesus to go away. They order him to stay. But he said, I have to come back. But I will send a brother of mine. And this is what he did. He asked his brother, Judas, after his death, to go to India, to the same place Jesus already gone before, and that's what happened. And today, until today, we have a tomb of somebody called Saint Hissa, that the Muslims think that was the body of Jesus who died there. And for this reason, the Islam says Jesus didn't die on a cross. He didn't. Because he really died in India. But it's wrong. Jesus really died on his crucifixion, and after that, he resurrected himself. That's what in spirituality all the spirits know. But Javert, again, when Jesus didn't do what Javert ordered him to do, Javert 2 centuries later, or 2 centuries after Jesus' crucifixion, the angels of Javert, the same people who were with me, they gave to a rabbin called Simon Bar Yochai what we call Kabbalah, or Kabbalah. And 4 centuries later, these angels took Muhammad and obligate him to speak 114 chapters that today we call Al-Quran. Al-Quran. Quran. In Quran, Gabriel, one of the angels of Javert, says, Jesus didn't die because Jesus was only a prophet, not God, neither Son of God. And he was only a very, very respectable prophet, but Muhammad was the last one. So the history or the story about Jesus died in India, it came from Muslims, okay? But in accordance to a legend created by Gabriel and Muhammad, but this is because Javert or Jehovah, the God of the Bible, did not forgive Jesus until 10 years ago, because Jesus do not accept the
Did not fulfill his
do
wishes.
not fulfill the mission Javé expected him to do. Jesus didn't want to use his power to obligate anyone to do anything. It's strange, it may be strange, this kind of news, but one day the future generations on earth will know it. Jesus died because he wanted, because he didn't want to fail with Javert 2 times. He failed. He failed one time when he didn't want to be the Messiah, the powerful Messiah. He used his powers to help poor people, to help blind people, but not to force no one to be this or that.
Okay, so I want to go back a little bit to the extraterrestrial side of things and ask you a question about when you encountered the ETs, how did it happen? Did it happen in a dream-like state? Were you taken to a different reality? Or did it happen like we're sitting here now?
In this reality.
Sitting here now?
Yeah.
As plain as day.
I'm talking about these two races. With the other races, I had contact, so in many places, but here we're talking in mind contacts, okay? I was talking to you about two physical contacts.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. And I suppose, was there a main message that was given to you? A kind of a, like, there's a lot going on in the world right now, obviously. We've had it quite a number of years, it's been quite tumultuous. It's been quite a crazy time, okay,
Yeah.
for humanity. Do you feel that we are going through a major shift in consciousness? Are you optimistic about humanity's evolution?
I would like to be optimistic.
Okay, well, this is Positive Life and this is Positive Nights here. I'm happy.
This is how I would like to be. But I am not as you think or as you may wish, but I am on my terms, on my own terms. And what are these terms? I think I know, I think I have learned along this 30 years dealing with this kind of beings, how important is the human being? How important we are. Even they don't understand how we are. We are too much complex for them. But they need us. Everybody in this universe, everybody in this parallel universe need human being. When the angels of Javert gave Simon Bar Yochai the terms of Kabbalah, in that terms there was a concept called tikkun in Hebrew language. Tikkun means that both the author and the obra, the creation, will need a kind of repair, a fix. Tikkun means that the creation and the creator both need a fix. And only human beings can do it. How? Changing the terms of our DNA. Changing the way we play the 28,869 genes each one of us have in our cells. This code belongs to the Creator, the fallen Creator. This code is in the body of everybody in this parallel universe, and this code is in the biological bodies of everybody in this universe we live. But no one of them can change this code in the way we human beings can do it. So, our mind and our feelings, or our thoughts and our feelings, when combined, can change the way this code that we call DNA functions. So, only men, only women can change the Creator's code, or the Creator's sick code. So I have all good feelings I can take to be optimistic, because I think the Creator is having hostage of what human being can do about his code that lives on our body, in our body.
Inside of us all.
Inside, yeah.
Yeah. I'm glad when you said, when you said there, men, I thought you were just going to say men, we would be in trouble then. It could be alright. So when you added women on, I was like, and so this code is inside of all of us, okay? This is kind of inspiring, I like this. This is a good conversation. So this, humans have the ability to love, to be compassionate, to have empathy. And a skill I'm noticing lately as well, particularly with the few years we've been through, is we have the ability within ourselves to raise the frequency of the environment around us just by how we're feeling or we're emanating. So this is almost, this is a creator-like quality, We won't go to our heads, we're not going to start thinking we're master creators, but we have a very profound ability. And this is kind of what you're touching on now.
Yeah.
And you're saying there's a code, and you're going to tell all these people the code. Can you give us the code?
When our frequency, personal frequency, lux, or create a kind of match with the reality that surrounds us, the human being becomes a vortex, a kind of vortex that attracts everything. And we can change in everything if we know how to change our personal code. Today, the science says we have an epigenome to work. The DNA code that is in our body, the science called today epigenome. Genome is the old code we received from our father and mother. But the new part of the genome that belonged to our responsibility is called IP. The IP is beyond the old genome we received from our parents. But here the game is how to build new proteins. New proteins. This is the game. Because we have, as I said, 28,000 to 28,869 genes. We're talking here about recipes of genes, of how to build proteins. Until now, after 10,000 or 20,000 years, the humanity could just build 20,000 types of proteins. Because we are always think the same, doing the same, repeating ourselves, listen to the same church, to the same book, to the same priest, to the same. We don't grow. We need to grow. We need to move our consciousness to build new kinds of proteins. Because the creator and the creation both need this new version of the old proteins to rebuild the condition of the creator and the creation. And only human being can do it. But it's not a question of faith. It's a question of knowing and faith. But not only faith. Faith, it's easy to do it, but think, to look for, to seek the truth, so we have to move ourselves, to have to expend some kind of force, power. I don't know how can I say this. So, what is the code, or which code we have to use? Well, the yoga that Patanjali, 2,000 years ago, Kapila, Siddhartha Gautama called Buddha, many men and women in the past show how to do it. We have to use the breath in an intelligent way to produce some kinds of, I don't know how can I say this in English, prana?
Yeah,
Prana?
life force.
Yeah. And as he did at the beginning of our meeting, breathing and
Meditation.
hold the prana near our chakras or something like that.
This is the best practice for humans right now.
And we have energy called Kundalini.
Mhm.
When we know how to use this energy, when we align in the same direction our thoughts, our feelings, our hopes, our projects, our actions, our energy, when we align everything that comes, that we can emanate from our body.
You're talking about centers of energy, the chakra centers?
Yeah. So at this point, if we really have some kind of love in our heart and some kind of wisdom and noble principles and purpose, our pulse, our personal pulse, pulse will change our code and give some helping hand to another people who wanted to do the same or something like that.
Sure. And we're going to move to questions from you guys in a minute. Did you get the gist of that one there?
Yeah.
Yeah, you got that? So, lots of people are talking about disclosure, contact on a planetary level, that everybody would know that we're not alone, basically. I mean, I think most of us would probably already know that, but an actual real encounter for the world, do you see that happening in the next couple of years?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
By what time frame do you feel?
I don't know. It's difficult to be sure about time, about years, about the future. I have good feelings, but we have many troubles
Before that.
Yeah. Mankind, how can I say em English? A humanidade não evolui, mas alguns homens e mulheres fazem.
Humankind is not evolving, but some humans are.
Yeah.
Few humans are.
This is a problem.
Humankind, that's what is not.
Only few humans are at this exact time we're talking here and we're together. Only few humans are really evolving. Most people that I love, most of the people on earth who are infected by corruption, infected by the kind of faith that
blocks.
Yeah. Today, the main problem is the effect called Dunning-Kruger that says a human being who think that they know more than somebody who studied some issues, matter. And Dunning-Kruger is a kind of effect that shows that the majority of people who live today on Earth think that knows issues that they don't know anything about it. It's completely crazy. And you cannot do anything with these people because they think they already know, they have the truth, and the other is they're stupid, but he's not. So we cannot change this perspective that almost everybody who lives today on Earth has a mental problem. The COVID, the 19 COVID, COVID is enough. The toxoplasma gondii, how can I say this in English?
So the same toxic gondii.
Yeah,
Virus.
some kind of virus.
Do you think what we just had, the COVID thing?
Yeah. Well, that and the other one that he's talking about.
Yeah.
Humanity's virus.
Yes.
Yeah.
Each cell in our body is surrounded by more than 3,600 different species of bacteria, of protozoaries, of virus. And the humanity is being attacked
Yeah.
from many interests that it's difficult to talk about it. So I'm optimistic, but I have to because it's difficult. It's a difficult time really.
Okay. Oh yeah, it's a difficult time. Yeah.
So I cannot tell you. I think in 1 man for a year, 2 years. We are in a game that we don't know about the result until it ends.
But you can feel it in the atmosphere, something is imminent, I feel, and that will change the game, I think. I think we'll go to questions now, actually. Anybody got a question? Hands up if you have a question. There you go, man.
I've got lots of questions, but I'll be asked straight.
Go for it.
So, just at the start, I didn't quite get what you said. At the very start, you said that humanity was God's mistake, or what was that you said? I didn't quite catch that.
About the creation of humanity.
I have studied more than 100 different mythologies. And I have studied in a profound way 75 different mythologies. And we can find in many of them a strange news. And this strange news was the fact that Adam and Eve, the rational human being, it was not predicted by anyone, but it happened. It happens. It happened. So, why did it happen if the creators didn't want somebody more intelligent, more clever than they are? But that was exactly what happened. Until today, these people try to understand what happened in that day we emerged to life. But here I have to tell you something. And it's very difficult to me to say that. But if I am right in the terms of the news that I'm writing, these books and lectures that I'm doing during the last 30 years, the only race in this universe and in that neighbor one that is rational, the only one is our species is the human race, is the Homo sapiens. All the people who live in this parallel universe have mental problems, have some kind of retardamento.
Dementia.
Have some kind of dementia. Jehovah included. Everybody on this parallel universe has some kind of dementia. Everybody in this universe we live, they do not have dementia, but they have another problem. The same way a abelha rainha,
Queen bee.
queen bee, functions with the other bees in a system, a mental system that one say what to do and all the rest only do what the one side. The same way the alpha bee, the alpha ant, the alpha cupim,
And
It's like an insect that lives.
like a kind of insect, we have alpha, entity alpha, and all the rest. All the rest only exists to do the will of the alpha being. Yahweh, Jehovah or Yahweh, is the alpha being of this parallel universe and either of our universe. But in the biological condition that we can notice in this universe, all the civilizations in our universe functions more or less at the same way of obey.
hive.
Hive. Somebody give orders.
Somebody's dictating what's to be done, and everybody else is following.
Yeah. So in our universe, there is no
Dimensions.
dimension, but there is a kind of disclosure, ou esse controle está afrouxando para aqui.
There's less control,
There's
mind control, less mind control.
perhaps, but no one speech of our universe, species of our universe, has the same rational condition we have. Only us on Earth, only human being on Earth appeared with this freedom, appeared with this condition of smile, to feel love, to feel altruism.
Mm-hmm.
Only us. If it's true, the gods who created everything we know, even us, they don't or they can't understand us. They can't understand until today how we emerged to life. And they do not accept that we are more complex than they are. Jesus understood this problem because his father, Yahweh, ordered him to comandar a humanidade, to command humanity to Yahweh's control. And Jesus said to himself, we humans are more complex than my father thought. And said to his father, the old Velha Aliança,
Old Alliance.
old alliance that my father did with Adam, Noah, Enoch, it will not function because human being is more complex than they think. And said, my father, I will invite mankind to love you, to help him. Let me invite men and women on earth to understand your problem, to understand our problem, because his code lives in our bodies, and love you and fix the creation and the creator. The creator. But his dimension didn't permit understand what Jesus offered to him. So this is why.
Didn't allow him to understand.
Yeah, thank you. So this is an issue that humanity, not actual human beings, but the future generations will understand better than us. But this is the answer I can give you.
Did you have a second part to that, or?
Yeah, well, that's just fascinating. Really is, because you've answered a question that I often thought about, that I hadn't intended to ask you, because I often wondered, well, what possible interest would they have in us, because we have such low technology and so on. But you're saying that we're that kind of different from them, and you're saying that we can change our code and they cannot. Is that correct?
Yeah,
Yeah, I think that.
we can change
Yeah.
and they can't.
Yeah, so last sort of question, which is not directly connected, but just during the week I was listening to Joe Rogan, guided an interview on Joe Rogan, and he was talking about the city in Brazil that was visited by UFOs, and it was like, it wasn't like any other event where there was a few people, it was like hundreds of thousands of people seeing this thing, and the military closed it off and so on, and I hadn't even heard about it, and like, I'm interested in this type of thing. So my final question is that these beings that visited you, are they the same beings from that came to that town, or do you know anything about that?
He's talking about Varginha in Minas Gerais.
No, it's completely different. I know many things about Virginia because I studied the result. I am a ufologist. When I was 17, 18, 19 years old, I spent all my life studying UFOs. And I still do it until now. I didn't realize at that time or imagine that I will have someday any kind of contact with these people. But they are completely different. If I am right in what I think, we have more than 2,000 different species that visit us until 2000, 2001, 2002. From 2002 to today, I don't know this number because it was for the last time I heard something about it. So, we are the news of the universe. We don't know it, but we are the most important part of universal life. Each one of us has a different kind of code or a different part of the creator code, and each one of us has a kind of importance that we can even imagine. Our spirit, and each one of us has a spirit that animated our personality. This spirit has many lives. This life is only one
has had
many lives. And we're talking here about the same code. One spirit used in many lives. Just trying to fix in accordance to his agenda. And his agenda is a kind of favor divino, divine favor each one of us is doing for Javé, for everybody who live in this parallel universe, and for God. Because nothing exists without the seed, the sacred seed of God. And when I'm talking about God, I'm really talking about a being that we don't know anything about him, because there is nothing I can compare this one with the gods, in quotes. That we here on earth, we use it to call entities that are not human, and just because of it, we call them gods. But we are doing a divine favor to God to help this fallen entity that, as mythology said, more than 20,000 years ago, he felt and caiu na própria obra.
He fell in his own creation.
He fell in his own creation. So, human being, even we are a kind of wrong of the gods, but we are the ones who can do it. But many of these powers don't want the mankind to know about it. They want to keep us in ignorance and playing games that will not allow us to do the tikkun. Tikkun is the Kabbalistic concept, to fix the creation and the creator. Only human being can do it, moving, changing your own code.
Yeah, I'm just gonna see any more questions from people. Anybody else have a question? Most.
I just have that sense that we're at that point now where, as humans, there are a lot of us working to bring those changes around getting people to meditate and to come onto silence, and that I just feel there's a paradigm shift at the moment in terms of humanity and that change coming about. Do you have that sense as well, or?
I don't either.
Ela tá sentindo que tá tendo já uma mudança um shift, né? Essa mudança de percepção de consciência. Ela quer saber se você concorda com isso ou não. Tem gente suficiente fazendo isso no momento.
Yeah, I do agree with you. As I said, mankind, the way I think, doesn't evolve. But some men and some women are evolving in a very, very nice way.
And they will lead others to that point.
I don't know.
Eles vão inspirar outros.
I don't know. This is why I cannot be so optimistic I would like to be, because we are
I mean, it's playing out at the moment. It's playing out at the moment. You don't like making predictions.
Yeah, I don't know how to make it.
Yeah.
We don't have the elements
Yeah.
to do it, but I agree with you.
You're optimistic.
Yes.
Okay. You can come up after me, okay? Any more questions down the back here? Anybody? There's one. Go ahead.
Southern African spirituality as a concept that I haven't had been talked about, like that we came from the skies and landed in water, and then we are people of the earth, of the soil.
Can you speak up slightly for me?
Okay, that we came from the skies running away from whatever wars were going on up there, and we landed here, and that our role is to first of all integrate ourselves and to reform our relationships with all of Earth, because everything here is alive, is living. The plants, the water, the soil, all those things. But at the moment when we talk about elevation and raising our frequencies, we are only looking at ourselves. We are also, even at times when we talk about nature, we are talking about just going there to heal ourselves, not to go there to even celebrate the joys and bring joy there. We just bring pain, and same as we're dumping everything else on nature. So how can we elevate if we still are not even considering that before we consider the gods or all the other beings, that we need to look at all other life as equal to us, because we need it as much as it needs us.
Well,
So in this journey, that for me seemingly is like the West is on a different trajectory to where, say, Southern Africa is going. That let's go back to having conversation with plants, with the water, with the soil, which is actually happening right now.
So you feel we need to connect more with this planet than
We're getting a lot of help there because they haven't had the dementia and they haven't lost information and they haven't lost the data. So how is the West working to at least, what can I say, recreate those relationships so we are more wholesome in our existence on this journey to, I don't know, going back to.
Você entendeu? Did you understand?
yeah, I think it's about like creating a relationship with the earth herself.
Como
Yeah.
nós podemos consertar se nós não conseguimos consertar a própria
Pra
natureza?
quem está se preocupando com os deuses se a gente voltar todo o planeta, entendeu? E ela tem um movimento na África do Sul de retorno à natureza, à água, as coisas assim.
It's like the Eurovision Song Contest. I have a team of international speakers. Any language you wish.
You're important.
I'm so important. Brilliant. This is actually Jan's son over here, Rodrigo, yeah?
yeah,
And your name, sorry, again?
Seer.
Seer. Sorry.
you're right. We don't need any kind of God. We don't need any kind, beg your pardon, okay, any kind of religion. We don't need anything. We only need to live in a dignified way. Helping our planet, helping vulnerable species and people. Because the only thing we have to do is inside of us. It's not to help God or to help any kind of God or religion or belief, no. If at the end of the day, I ask to myself, today, what did I do? And I tried to be Dignify. If I say yes to myself, I am making the tikkun, the Kabbalistic term. Even I don't know anything about God, Yahweh, angels, demon, because the way we live is the key, is the secret, is the password we need to know to fix the code, the genetic code. We don't need anything more than that. But I agree with you. We talk all the time about these things and forget to use our human way to live in and notice what is really essential to life for us. And if we do the right thing in our hearts, we are doing the right thing in the universe for everybody, for God, for everything we may think exists.
Thank you for that question. Anybody else on this side got a question? Okay. Go ahead.
I don't know how to connect to bigger. When you say that the bigger God, like not the gods, the bigger God, it like fell on itself, like the entity collapsed, and then it's like a mistake. Is it just like Adam and Eve was like a mistake, but we have the creation of the God, like the big God within us, like we're the creators. I can't explain it, but that because I'm intrigued at the way you say that the gods and other entities, I always thought that they were smarter, more intelligent than we were stupid, but it's actually like the other way around, that we have the God-like creation character, like Brahma, like within us. No, I'm not getting it right.
Yeah, I need help.
Ela está falando o seguinte: quando você fala que da criação, que é um criador caiu em sua própria criação, ela sempre teve a ideia de que todos esses seres, esses deuses, essas pessoas todas são mais preparadas, inteligentes, e agora ela está vendo que você está falando que é mais ou menos o inverso. Então, ela está confundindo também o Deus que você disse que existe com esse Deus que criou a obra e caiu dentro dela. Aí se você puder falar sobre isso.
It's a question of $100 billion. It's very important. God, the only God we think we know, we think exists. It's difficult for us to talk about Him because we don't know if He is a Him. Yeah. But He is. But in the way we think that if I love somebody, I will have to take care somebody I love. It's a mammal nature. If I love, I have to take care. Mother, mammal, take care of your son, of your daughter. Mammal, a mother mammal do that, but I mean, a reptilian mother does not do it, because in the condition of the mammal mind, we have hypothalamus, thalamus, hippocampus, and amygdala. I don't know how I'm going to say this.
It's more or less the same.
Yeah, the brain.
That in our brain give us the possibility to memorize and to associate with that memory a kind of sensation, a kind of feeling. Okay? So if I love, I take care. But does God love us? Yeah. But does he take care of us? The answer is no. How can we understand this complex situation? Because we hope that if I am a simple mammal father or mammal mother and I take care of my son or my daughter, and what about the God? He loves us, so he has to take care of us. But this is the main issue in the spirituality, that the more elevated, evolved consciousness trying to understand. And what do they say today? This being we call God, the one, the unique, there isn't two, there is only him or her. He really exists. He is 100% pure, beautiful, wonderful, but he doesn't act on chaos.
It doesn't act in chaos,
In
chaotic situation.
And we live in chaos. He is so pure, so beautiful, so that he, in quotes, cannot act on chaos. The divine favor I was talking before, it's this only way God can act on chaos, by sending his cells or his monads, his
spiritual seeds,
and each spiritual seed will create agents on chaos, and we are the agents today that are acting on chaos. We have in our bodies the code, the sick code of a fallen creator.
That's exactly what she's. I think maybe I didn't understand. That she's one thing is the biblical God who created the universe. He's not God. He's the universal creator, but there's a God beyond.
Yeah.
So you're talking about this too, right?
So God gave his cells to these cells create personalities for act in chaos. And that's what we are. We are the hands of God acting on chaos. But here we have another kind of problem. And if I will have to talk about it, we are going to be here until tomorrow morning.
Yeah, thanks very much. You did really well there. Wow.
Thank you very much.
Wow.
I have to apologize. But
No, you did. Great job. So before we go to a very short meditation, I want to thank everybody for coming in. Thank you for listening, and I hope you enjoyed it.